another episode of Porch Talk. Before we start in this episode, I just want to go over a few things. If you are in the Tazewell County area or in close driving distance, I personally would like to invite you Sunday to attend Life Church in Cedar Bluff, Virginia, located in the Claypool Hill Mall. Pastor Brandon there and the whole church family has been wonderful to us, and it's just a great experience every week. So I just wanted to use this platform that I have to invite you guys this Sunday to the service. Also, big announcement. Been working on this for a few weeks, and happy to announce that we are partnering with Blackberry Winter. Blackberry Winter is a charity organization here in Southwest Virginia. We do a lot of amazing work in our area. We're very happy to be even just a small part, sharing who they are, and the mission that they have. President from Blackberry Winter, Terry Crawford Brown, was nice enough to give us some clips. These clips, she's going to share more information about who they are, what they do, and some of the stuff they might need. I'd also like to advise you guys to go and follow them on Facebook to get more details. After the announcements, after I get done running my mouth here at the beginning, we'll have a message from Terry, and then in between each interview, I've placed some of the clips that she has sent us, just to kind of give you all some information there. Yeah, be alert to those. Don't skip over them. And again, be sure to follow them on Facebook. Final thing, we're in the process of getting a business to sponsor us, a local restaurant. I'd also like to extend that offer. If you have a business in Southwest Virginia, if you want to get an ad out here on our episode, message us, message me personally on my Facebook or Jamar or the podcast page. We'll continue to go through the playoffs and then through high school basketball, and we're going to continue to do our weekly high school interviews with the kids and the coaches. And the basketball season gives us a little bit more flexibility, the amount of games and games kind of just happening, every day. So we will continue to do our special guest series that we haven't done here in a little bit. And we'll try to get some local legends that, you all, the older ones may have grew up watching and even the younger ones hearing about. And we'll sit down with them and let them discuss their whole life and how they grew up and into their high school careers and even further. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for those. But again, as far as sponsors go, if you want an ad on the podcast, just message one of us and we'll see what we can come up with. That's it for the announcements, guys, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
This is Terry Crawford Brown with Blackberry Winter. So if you don't know what Blackberry Winter is, it's a nonprofit that I started in 2018, and we take donations of gently used furniture and give it to people who are starting over from nothing. It doesn't matter why that they're starting over, illness, fire, addiction. We help a lot that come out of the domestic violence shelter. So we are based in Southwest Virginia, and since 2018, we have furnished almost 700 homes. When I started doing Blackberry Winter, I realized that a lot of children in our community were sleeping on the floor, and I think children struggle to learn and grow and to feel loved sleeping on the floor. So then that became the second prong of what Blackberry Winter does. We provide beds to children in our community, and so far we have provided close to 1,500 beds in Southwest Virginia.
Back, everyone. This is episode 41 and our region championship preview. We're going to start this episode off with an interview with Eastside's Reagan and Yasir Hilton. How you guys doing? We're going to start off in your childhood and just give you both an opportunity to tell us about when you fell in love with the sport. The way we'll do this, we'll go to you first, Reagan, we'll go over here to you, Yasir. And the question is, when you first fell in love with the sport, and then also if you had any players you looked up to growing up, and that can be local, professional, anything.
I personally hated football. for a really long time there. Back when I was a kid in like 4th and 5th grade, I used to play, and I wanted to quit, but my parents wouldn't let me. I just didn't like the physical aspect of it. And then freshman and sophomore year, I didn't play freshman year and sophomore year. We were pretty bad. So, uh, it was really up until last year that I kind of like got my feet underneath me, if you will. And I just kind of, really found a love for it, kind of found out I might want to do this at the next level if possible. So yeah, just because I think we just grew as a team and like a family. And I know I got a lot of guys that I can rely on and, but someone that I look up to, I mean, not really as a kid. I had anyone that I look up to, just never really watched it. Wasn't a huge fan of it until here recently. So I didn't have like a crazy fan. I mean, I've been a Redskins fan for most of my all my life, or Commanders, and so I just kind of didn't really watch that much because kind of knew what was going to happen on this.
Hey, I understand that.
You can say Redskins on here.
I appreciate it. I'm hoping they change the name or logo back. I don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah. I've heard it's in the works, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. Same question for you out there.
I mean, I played football in the 4th grade, then not again to my junior year. So at first, I really didn't fall in love with it. I was soft. I told my mom, like, it's too much contact. I don't want to play this. Well, I moved here, and then I would say I fell in love with it. I mean, you get to hit people. That's really just it. I mean, that's something to fall in love with. And somebody I would kind of say I looked up to, like in the more recent years of like me liking football, is probably Trent Williams. Not a Redskins fan. Hate him. Go Steelers. But yeah, he's a pretty good tackle. He good player.
And so I like that answer. And it is kind of odd how both of y'all didn't really like hitting people, but now you both are two of the best at it in the region. So I definitely bloomed there. Go ahead, more.
If it sounds like neither one of you younger were crazy about football. Did you play any other sports or any kind of? What was your favorite growing up?
I played a lot of sports, but my favorite has always been basketball.
Yeah, I played I've never played baseball. I've always kind of wanted to, but I never really did. But I did soccer, basketball for like 2 years. I think I might have scored maybe 1 point. And then through high school, I did football and wrestling and track and stuff like that. So I've tried to be active because I grew up kind of lazy and bigger. So I tried to, be a little more active throughout the years.
You guys have had a terrific season so far, and we'll get to this upcoming matchup here in a little bit. But just a season from beginning to end, how do you guys think you've grown?
I think we've grown a lot, especially from like the beginning of the season. I mean, on the field, off the field, I think we've grown a lot. And I mean, of course, I think we can still keep growing because I mean, there's never really like perfection. Like you can always get better. So I mean, even though what seems like we are our best, I still think we can always get better and just keep getting better and better every day for real. So yeah,
I think we kind of started off the season, on our trip to Indiana every summer. Coach Rhodes has been talking to us a lot this season about leaving our legacy, and I think we started off undefeated and everything. And we were like, okay, yeah, maybe this is building. I think as time moved on, we kind of saw ourselves achieve that more. And so that helped motivate us in practice. Like when we don't want to be doing stuff, I think it flipped that switch where we kind of have to do the lifts before practice, even though we don't want to, but everybody's trying to get better and, perfect their craft. So I think we all are just getting better at leaving our legacy. And, we've seen the fruits of our work and everything.
Back to last year, and then including this year, y'all played a pretty tough schedule. And I know last year y'all were in a lot of close ball games. Some of them didn't go your way, some of them did, but there are a lot of close games. And now this year, not as many close games necessarily, but still tough schedule. Has that kind of over the span of last season, this season, going into the playoffs now? Can you tell a difference to that experience of being in those battles, knowing that just because things aren't going your way now, are y'all good? And can you tell can just not get too high or too low throughout a game. Is that a thing that you can carry over on, or is it kind of just two completely different years?
I mean, I would say it does feel like two completely different years. I would say like we work a lot harder and stuff more than last year. I would say this season is. I mean, they have their similarities because it's a lot of the similar players, but I will say like it has gotten better, bigger this year than last year.
I've had write-ups, I think, in the paper this year, but Yasir, you had one from this week talking about how you had moved over here and started football a little late, and just from you talking to Reagan, I guess you as well had started a little bit late. Just in your individual game, how much do you think you've grown? Not just this year, but over the last 2 years, because you had some of these kids in it for 4 or 5 straight years. But where do you all think you are individually right now?
I mean, fun fact, actually, me and Yasir grew up about 20 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
We just didn't know each other at that point. But sophomore year, I'd met him, and I was like, "Oh shoot, you're from Hampton?" I was like, "Oh, I'm from Newport News." So that was kind of cool. But that was kind of off topic. But I think definitely just becoming more physical in my game and everything, because I really didn't like to hit until I got bigger and stronger, and I realized it doesn't have to hurt if I hit first. So just think and becoming a sponge. Becoming coachable, I think is a big thing that I kind of grew into. Because it used to just go in one ear out the other, not really know what I was doing. But now I kind of try to absorb as much as I can throughout practices and everything, what I hear from coaches and all that. So,
I mean, kind of basically the same thing that Reagan said. I mean, just listen to coaches and stuff. And I mean, honestly, this year, I think where it's our senior year, we take a lot less for granted. Every other year, it's no matter what happens this season, do what you can do, but there's always next year. And I think we're not just us, but we have multiple seniors on the team. We know that we have to give it our best. And I think we also show to the rest of the team, always give you your best, because you never know, you know what I'm saying?
Those running backs have had, some huge games. Hamilton in particular, one game 7 touchdowns or something. But obviously, just at every level, the O-line kind of doesn't get the publicity and all that stuff. But obviously, it starts up front with you all. You can't have a good running back or running game without a lineman. But it seems like this year y'all are, from what I can tell on different posts and things, y'all are getting your props this year. It feels like, and I think that's a great thing. But to speak on your whole unit as a group, the whole offensive line, and get some shout outs if you want. But if y'all do anything in particular, just aligned to bonding stuff or anything like that?
I mean, not anything in particular. I think one thing, we're kind of close with Landry Carrico, because we all did track together, and he's those two are pretty big throwers. I was just there, and I would just hang out with them. But
well, not even really just Landry. I mean, me and Landry went the farthest with throwing and stuff. But even Noah and Tristan, I mean, they also do track, and they not too bad at it. So I think with us playing multiple sports year round, it also, have us create a bond. And also where we play line, I think that just naturally builds a bond between us. So
because we all understand, none of us are getting the ball. Might as well do good for the people who win. So, but I think I also want to say, Kelton is pretty good about giving us shout outs. I never feel like I don't ever get any credit
or be unappreciated. I mean, all the skill players really give credit to the line, especially Kelton. I mean, anytime you see him get a lot of touchdowns or big runs, he always go back and thank the line first,
and he always the first to celebrate with us.
Yeah, if you ever watch us play, Kelton's always celebrating with us. So I mean, it's a good feeling. Not too many running backs I see do that. So shout out.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, just from the outside looking in, it seems like the whole team has a real good team chemistry with stuff like that. I want to kind of jump on the coaching staff here. Coach Rhodes, and then also the assistant coaches. Just what y'all speak on them. What do you think?
I mean, I think personally that they're great. I mean, and once again, they're also some of our track coaches too. So we see them a lot more. And honestly, our there's not one football coach I wouldn't say wouldn't help any of us. Like, they will do everything for us. They make sure we have everything we want. Make sure like our high school football experience is the best we could possibly have. And
Yeah, I mean, there's, like he said, I mean, I know any of those coaches give me the shirt off their back. I do the same, honestly. It's just like a love that we all have for, we're like one big family, you know, players, coaches, everyone, like, you know, we rag on each other, joke with each other, but, you know, there's also like love there. You know, no matter what happens, coaches, like, win or lose, they'll tell you what you need to fix, you know, tell you if you did a good job. You know, you can just kind of tell that I don't know. But I've never had a coaching staff as good as, you know, the football teams.
that's true.
Something that I try to take all in, you know, just sit back and realize, you know, so many people are way better at the sport than I am, but hate it simply because their coaches are terrible. But I'm blessed in the fact that I get to have a great high school football experience just because my coaches, you know, are always there for me and supportive.
Kind of jump off of football for a minute. Cameron will keep going with football questions probably, but one thing we always ask everybody is what kind of music are y'all into? Who's some of your favorite artists? And if you was going into a UFC fight this weekend, what would your walkout song be?
You gonna start?
Well, I was going to a UFC fight. My walkout song would probably be Nachos by Baby Chief Do It. I mean, that's probably like my favorite song. And like favorite artists, I mean, most rappers, Adele is a big one.
Yeah.
I love it. Like Adele, she gets slept on a lot. So
I mentioned last week.
We like a good
So,
Adele song
yeah.
during practice.
yeah, during practice, after practice, before practice,
It's just a vibe.
but it's one of those
Yeah.
things that like everybody could get with.
I'm a kind of music addict. I like a lot. You know, I like my white girl pop music. Big Sabrina Carpenter fan. You know, I also like rap music, some R&B every now and again. Maybe some country too. Kind of depends. Like, it's a car ride after practice and it's dark outside, I might throw on some, you know, Noah Khan or something. I don't know. I listen to any kind of music. It just kind of has to fit the mood.
As long as it sound good and got a good vibe, then like I could listen to it.
But walkout song, I'm gonna go "Set Fire to the Rain" by Adele. You know, that one just, no matter what's going on, if you start playing that song, I'm gonna sing along to it. So
Awesome. Yeah, I did not expect to. It's back-to-back weeks. Adele's been on there. Didn't expect
Yeah,
it, but it does
that's-
make sense now that you kind of think of some of the songs. I could see that. But got another one more. Do you want me to go
No,
ahead?
I'm just like you. I'm very surprised about the Adele stuff. I get it, but it's just you would think the football players it would kind of be not what would get brought up, but it's very popular apparently with this generation of
Yeah, well, you
football
think about
players.
some of the songs, it does kind of have that suspense and kind of
Yeah, I mean it's
builds
great.
up.
Yeah,
I just
it
never
sounds,
would have thought of it.
oh,
Yeah,
it sounds great. I just it's
Yeah.
just surprising for some
Yeah.
reason every time.
you don't expect it. Yeah, I want to talk about. I think you already kind of mentioned some of your teammates, but just another opportunity. Just shout out any teammate that you have. Doesn't just have to be on the line. Can be anybody on the team. Either one of you first.
I'll shout out Noah Hamilton. He just had a little article done up about him. I think he's got a lot of potential in the sport.
He's silent but deadly.
Oh, he don't,
He like low key.
yeah, he don't talk very much, but he's open. He's gonna catch it. He's gonna run it.
I think he's underrated in my opinion.
Me too.
I think when Eastside football get brought up, I don't think Noah stands out as much.
You know, you hear a lot about like Kelton.
Yeah.
But
Which Kelton is great.
Kelton, a great player. But I think Noah has just as much like potential as Kelton does.
So,
Sport.
so did number one, Chase.
Chase also.
He's smaller, but he's a good athlete. And by his senior year, he gonna a lot of people gonna know him more.
I've been telling him, you put on some size, he's gonna be a great player. Like, he's gonna be elite.
I mean, one game this season, he had like what 2-3 picks, and 2-3 touchdowns.
He'll go get the ball.
He a sophomore. I mean, he ain't even 6 foot, but he gonna make some plays. And he don't even weigh 120 pounds, but
He'll hit too.
yeah, he'll hit us in practice. So,
Also, he don't start, but Isaiah Adkins, that kid,
little phantom.
yeah, he was our scout team running back. He has never been afraid to run the tote the rock ever. You know, he's You know, he's like the perfect display of it's not the size of the fight or the dog on the fight. It's the size of the fight and the dog. So, and Landon Pinnell, I'm gonna give him a shout out too. He, really stepped in, led us, even in his freshman year. He held back, but still, he still never played varsity football. So, for him to be such a leader and like help us out, he's a pretty good ball player.
But I mean, except for them, like I do think that all of our teammates. Shout out to the whole team for real.
Yeah,
I would say that we have everybody on the team got a great relationship. Like we always laugh. It's always hang out outside of school.
we fight like brothers though too.
I would say this is probably like one of the closer sports teams I've ever been on.
Yeah.
So it's a fun team to be on for real.
Y'all have any superstitions or weird little like things y'all gotta do before games? Like anything, like any rituals?
We go sit in the coach's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
Some games.
yeah, for like about 30 minutes to an hour, we just sit in there, talk about any and everything. And anybody just come there, we sit in there, or we walk around the field for a little bit. That's probably my only ones. I'm not really big like superstitious person.
I personally like I don't have that many. I always put my right knee brace on before my left one though, and my dad does. He's a pastor here in St. Paul, and he'll speak to the team. He has been for the last 3 weeks where we've been in the playoffs, and he's worn the same outfit every week. Like I think probably even down to the socks and shoes.
But he washes out.
Yeah,
He washes.
but so I mean I'm not crazy on superstitions. I think if you focus too much on those, that could like just determine your game.
Yeah, like your mindset and stuff.
Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't do this and I'm going to play bad. I mean, if you think you're going to play bad, you're going to play bad,
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. And I'd say he won't be changing that outfit, especially if y'all win this week. Hopefully for a few more weeks. So, well, I mean, I want to give y'all both a chance to talk about the community that you got over there. Coach Rhodes talked about it last week, and I just want to give you all both an opportunity to shout them out.
I mean, once again, with me not like being from here, I'm not used to like, smaller community. I'm not used to seeing the same 20 people every day.
Yeah.
But I would say like, it didn't really take me too long to adjust like community wise. And I would say like, we got a lot of great people in our community. And I would say our community also does a lot for us, like supporting wise for sports, school, everything. Like to be honest, without our community, I don't think we would also be as great as we are. Our community pours a lot back into us, even from teachers, principals, coaches, just fans. So just every day-to-day people for.
I mean, I was, one day I mentioned, I think it was on Tailgate Talk, I mentioned how my favorite meal is chicken Alfredo. And, like a week or two later, some lady yells out her car window. It's like dark, can't see. Hands me just a hot plate of chicken Alfredo. I just think that kind of speaks to how much they do take care of us. We're very spoiled, very blessed. Coach Rhodes is always like turning down churches to feed us and everything. Like, I'm very appreciative to live here. That's definitely not something you get ever like in other places.
A Blackberry Winter is an Appalachian saying. It is a cold snap in the spring after the blackberries have bloomed. And my mama used to tell me that when we would experience a blackberry winter, that the blackberries would be more hardy because of the cold snaps. So I named my nonprofit that because I love the way we speak, and I'm so proud of my Appalachian heritage, and because we all have cold snaps in life and need help from people.
Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. If you all had to choose between turkey or ham, what are you going with?
Ham.
All day. See, my family's never had it, but probably ham.
Well, I take that back though. It depends on who cook it. I'm not gonna say no names, but some people turkey be dry. I don't like dry turkey. So then they go to ham. But if it's a good turkey, I take turkey.
It does
Yeah,
seem to.
I'm had ham and turkey just kind of makes me sleepy. So I think I might like to try switch it up one day. I don't see that happening in the near future. So
It does seem to be the biggest criticism with turkey is it's a little too dry for people. If you ever hear anything bad about it, that's what people say.
Because I
If
mean,
you-
it could be dry with good taste, but
Yeah.
like the
you
dryness,
just gotta like
then you got
put
put
it in
gravy. Yeah, that's too.
Yeah.
I ain't about that.
Yeah, it's too
Well,
much work.
speaking of gravy, if you could only pick 3 sides to go with it, what are your 3?
With the turkey,
With whatever you pick, turkey or ham, either one you went with.
stuff and mac and cheese and mashed potatoes. Easy.
I'll say stuffing, mac and cheese, yams. I mean, yams is sweet.
That's just what sweet potatoes with.
No, I don't think is a yam with sweet potato. I'm not sure. They sweet.
I don't like yams.
I like all my food touching too, so it just all go together in this.
Yeah, like if it's the same kind of food, like it can be a melting pot for me. You know, I don't want like cookies touching ketchup or something like that. You know,
My
like,
thing,
No.
my Thanksgiving plate like Jenga. Really, everything is stacked on.
yeah, fit more that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Reagan mentioned the turkey kind of makes him sleepy. I think any Thanksgiving meal, I mean, after going through that, I'm ready to go to sleep. And especially having multiple meals you had to kind of go to in one day, it's rough. It is, but now that's probably the best nap you could have, I feel like.
Exactly. One night I like a few years ago, I went to bed at like 11:30. Woke up. I was like, "What time is it?" It was like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I was like, "Dang."
It's such a good nap.
Well, just to kind of piggyback on that question, and since we're talking about naps, tomorrow, Thanksgiving, are you all your family's having to kind of change things around this year, like where y'all usually would do dinner, since I'm assuming practicing tomorrow, or
Yeah.
like, what's the
I
routine
mean-
going to be like?
Coach Rose kind of flexible, so he made practice in the morning, which I'm happy about.
We just gonna miss the parade, which is a little upsetting because I was a little excited to watch ETSU's band play, because apparently they're performing there, which is kind of cool. But I mean, you know,
It's like one of those things. I mean, parade and everything else you could get every other year or go back and watch it, but
yeah,
especially us after this year, we never got to play in the high school region championship ever again. So. Can't be too much.
yeah. It's not like I'm mad about it. Really,
Oh, yeah, it's a great problem to have. There's a lot of people that wish they would have had that problem that never got it. So it's for sure a great thing to have to worry about.
Just touching on this week's game, this is a big one, the rematch for the region championship. I think that we had read in the paper that I think this is the first time since 2000 a Cumberland team is going to be in the state semis, and I think since '88, if I'm not mistaken, the first time it's been an all Cumberland matchup in the region championship. So history is going to be made regardless. Give you both an opportunity. Just talk about keys to the game. And I know you don't want to give away too much, but just some things you're looking at going into it.
go ahead.
I mean, the main keys is really just like play hard, play as a team, and we just gonna have to come out ready to play. Like, I feel like we're just a bigger game. Like anything could happen. We can't wait till any quarter or anything. Because Rockove is also a good team. We're both good teams, but we just gotta play our best both. And the outcome of the game is gonna be who executed more. Whoever capitalized off more mistakes, and that's just how it's gonna have to go. So we just gotta play our best.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, Rocco's definitely a great team. No diss to them or anything. I think it'll be a good game though, fun one to watch, and really just playing all 4 quarters, everything you have, not giving up. I think our last game, was the first time we faced a whole lot of adversity, and I think that affected a lot of us mentally. But I think just gotta play the next play. Can't be too worried about anything.
I think both teams. I mean, I can't speak for Rocco, but I'm pretty sure both teams are excited to both be back here playing again. I mean, me personally, I think both of us teams out of like our region stuff deserve to be here. We're the best 2 teams, obviously, because we're only 2 left. But I mean, It's gonna be a good game, man. I'm hyped. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And it's on Friday night, so another Friday night game. That's also good.
Yeah.
And it's against a better team, and we familiar with them because they're in our district, so that makes it more fun.
Good little rivalry game.
Something like
Yeah.
that. Cumberland District.
Hope this is one of those ones that people talk about for a long time.
Game y'all had with them earlier in the year, the final score was nowhere near as close as what that game was. I mean, that was basically a one possession game throughout 3.5 quarters. For somebody who didn't watch it, they might not even realize how close that game actually was. So I think y'all, like you said, just go out there and execute. Basically, kind of, you're right there with, playing right there with them. So it's not like you've had to completely change your game, going into this one. But you talked about it's one that will be talked about for a long time. I really do think it will be. I think this is a huge matchup. Just the fact that you all are in the same district, you're very familiar with each other. There was a huge crowd last time. I expect it to be even bigger tomorrow. So I think you're right. I think it'll be a game that people talk about for a while. My next question, non-football related, was what are some of y'all's hobbies outside of sports? What we find y'all doing like on the weekend, it's have no games or something like that, and or throughout the year, any time of the year, really, not just now, but just get what maybe y'all be doing. Also, follow up question: how much do you all hang out together outside of football? Like not just you two, but team wise. Like, are y'all always doing stuff together, or is y'all kind of just
Well, for me personally, outside of football or like on the weekend, I mean, where we live here, it's not really much to do. But I mean, I fish, play pickleball, tennis, pick up basketball, just like a whole bunch of like random fun stuff. Playing a video game, sitting around is kind of boring to me, so I don't really do too much of that. And hanging out outside of football, like the football team, I would say like we do it a lot. Like, I mean, on the football team, you have certain people you're closer to because that's like more of like your friend group, more people like you relate to. But I would say like a good amount of us hang outside of school. We've been to each other's houses. We go out to eat, find something to do. I mean, I would say like we're closer than a lot of teams we've played against. And I do think that's also helped us a lot because we can trust and we know our teammates.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite hobbies is like procrastinating. Always got some level of homework to do. Kind of takes me a minute to like focus up and actually do it. I actually got a few assignments due by Sunday, so probably gonna wait till Saturday to look at them. Yeah, I mean, I hang out. Me and Yasir hang out a lot. We'll hang out with like Peyton and Luke, and then Peyton, when he broke his leg, we were kind of hung out with him a lot more. Just kind of, we tried to keep his spirits up as much as we could, but when with that whole situation, it was difficult. But yeah, I mean, really, we're one big family. If anyone needed like a place to stay or somewhere to crash, I'd let them. I think that's just kind of communicated throughout the whole team. We're always there for each other, and there's a brotherhood there. So
I would say on our team it's bigger than football and more than the game to most of us. Yeah.
And assignments out on region championship week. I mean, we got to
No.
hold off a few weeks or something.
Because that's just considered. I don't know why.
Well, I mean,
True.
Still gotta
Put school first.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is called student athlete for a reason. But we on break. So yeah, they could at least you.
Yeah,
I'll get it
yeah.
done though. Don't worry.
Yeah, Thanksgiving break. I forgot about that too. Yeah. I got a few more questions. Not many, but college. I know Reagan. You had Wise looking at you, right? I don't know if you've committed yet, and but this question is for both of you, regardless. Do you have plans on playing college ball? And if not, do you have plans to do something else?
I mean, I definitely something that I want to do. Definitely interested in playing at Wise. Just kind of waiting to make that option like finalized and everything. Just to see if anything else comes around. But I just, I've got a love for the game. I want to go through college and do something. Be a part of some like group of people. My parents said it either like try to play football or join like an ROTC program, something like that. Just have a, I don't know, just a brotherhood. I like to be a part of something.
I mean, I would play football for that long, but it's kind of fun to me. And football wasn't always something I would think I would play in college, but now I've been playing it. Why not? And I do think that if I got the opportunity to, I would like to go try and give it my all on the next level. I think this is kind of a dream of every kid who really truly likes sports. Like you want to go to the highest possible level you can, whether that's college, overseas, NFL, NBA, wherever you want to go. So every next level is like a step up and like an accolade person. And for me, it would either be between, playing football in college or throwing, shot and disc and all that stuff, or both of them. So it'll be fun, whatever I choose.
Okay, so if Xbox or PlayStation, which one are you on?
Xbox, PlayStation.
Uh-oh.
See, that's where we disagree.
And what always bothers me is when I come to his house, X is to the left and not down below.
Uh-huh.
So playing, sorry.
I'll go ahead and do it.
I'm saying playing college football, that's detrimental. That's a pick or something right there. It just messes me up every time. When I say something, he'd be like, that's just excuses. Anybody who played PlayStation, try to play Xbox, they know that X button is really detrimental.
See, but it's the same way for a Xbox player playing PlayStation. And I really don't understand why he's acting like he don't throw picks regardless.
Come on now. Come on now.
GTA every time.
College football, Madden, just about any video game, anybody want to smoke, I'm there. I can play the game. Him,
that's not true.
Him, I can't even tell me because I beat him. I don't even keep tabs. I'm not that guy.
I can't tell you because they're not. I'm trying to think.
Come on,
they don't have it.
Come on, I'm certified on the game. Certified.
We need to have a live stream game.
That's
or
what I'm
something
saying
like
too.
that.
Yeah,
Broadcast
definitely.
it. Yeah,
would never.
I said same thing.
Oh, we need to work this out where y'all come on here and play, and we'll just sit back and watch y'all. Sounds like it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
man, y'all can sit back and watch them get embarrassed. It's light work to me.
All right.
the question would be what system to play on, though.
Yeah,
We'd had to have a coin toss or something.
I'd give him Xbox. I'll beat him on Xbox. That's
Oh,
how call.
I put 6 PlayStation with my hands, like with my eyes closed. Easy.
You got my PlayStation controller. He don't even know what to do with it. So I ain't even trying to hear all that.
all right. Well, y'all's favorite games.
Me personally, I got a couple of them like 2K, Madden, college football, Call of Duty, and GTA probably.
They trash it all of them. All of them. I'm a big. I like. It's gonna sound corny. I like Fortnite. And I don't know why we're laughing, but I like Fortnite, and I play college football specifically with him and Peyton. Peyton's pretty good. I was actually the first person to break his win streak.
Were he a quarterback? It ain't fair because quarterbacks
they know
they get the audibles. With games like that, that's like funny story. Coach Rose challenged me to a game of Madden. I kind of been putting that off because where he's a coach.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Peyton's also a linebacker.
Yeah,
like a safety. So he knows.
He get the reads just
everything. Bro, it made me so mad. We were sitting there playing, and before the snap, he'd be like, "I'm throwing it to A," and then he'd throw it and complete it. Oh my god!
Yeah, I didn't even know what to do with it. Like, you can't do anything because like the CPU is always going to get burnt if it go like a zig or a 2-yard out. It's always going to get burnt in certain situations. So. Yeah, somebody tell you what's going to happen, you just get mad about that because you can't stop it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to do it to where we set up like a tournament and have whoever is the top one in the Eastside, goes on and play the top one in with Rye Cove or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Anybody in the Cumberland District, Southwest Virginia, I'm better than. I'm not
honestly, if I'm going to tournament throughout like Eastside, I mean, I can't speak on who else I'm going to beat, but I know if I meet Yasir in that tournament, I'm winning.
I could give Reagan. I'm a comeback maestro. I like them games where I got I'll be down 2-3 touchdowns.
That's not true. That's not true. I think because he'll be up by like 2 touchdowns, like score onside kick it. he get it back and then lateral the ball, and I just recover the fumble.
Matter of fact,
Because you get cocky.
when we get off the, I just have to prove to him what's actually going on.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to send us a score or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Or-
too intriguing. All right, do you have any more, Jamar? I have one question left.
No, I just wanted to apologize to you all. We talked about it last week about how when we picked the games for last week's games that I said every Grundy player and every Eastside player could come on here and let me know how wrong I was. So I just want to apologize for not picking y'all last week. That was obviously my bad. You know, it wasn't anything like I kind of start feeling bad on picking some of these games because it's obviously not personal or anything against any school. But then I always do feel bad like we had, we picked it last week. Now we have y'all on this week. So I just want to give y'all a shout out and say I apologize, tip the hat, and acknowledge that I was wrong. But
I mean, it's okay. We try not to take it too personal.
I mean, I don't really blame you. That was another good game. So
I mean, Patrick Henry is a great team.
Yeah.
Respect to them for everything they had to overcome throughout the season.
I mean, because they had a lot of injuries and stuff.
Yeah,
And
so
for them to like come back and still make it that far, I mean, that was also another good game I would say we played this season. So
I mean, I'm trying to be respectful of pretty much every team we play, unless they want to start dissing us, Then it's
no, don't listen to them. Even if somebody does us, we try to be a bigger person. So.
Well,
I was gonna say other than that, I'm done with my questions. I'll give it back to Cam, but I just want to thank y'all for taking time out, coming on. I've enjoyed it a lot. Actually, it's been a lot of fun. And good luck tomorrow night. I can't wait to watch it. We're gonna be there, and I think it's gonna be a great game. And really looking forward to it. And hope y'all have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. And good luck Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just kind of touch on Jamar's prediction thing that he's talking about, or picking the games last week. It's like I told somebody online. I think one of the Eastside parents, messages and talked about how we picked Patrick Henry. It's almost like a kiss of death. Like if we pick y'all, it might not be good because the last few weeks we've been on the wrong end of a few of them. So it's more of a compliment, I think, now if we don't. But just to kind of echo what Jamar said, appreciate y'all coming on. It was a heck of an interview. We're excited for Friday. We're going to be there hours early, however early they allow us to be. The last time we went there, it was, I don't know, we got there right at kickoff, I think, Jamar, and there was not a place to even stand.
One of us has a hard time seeing over top of people when people are in front of us.
Yeah,
so we're gonna have to get there a little early to try to get him to the front row.
Yeah, I'm gonna see more of it this time. Listen, I might not be that tall. I'm only about 5'5". I ain't 6'4" or 5" like you are. So regardless, we're gonna be there Friday, and we're excited. But to finish out the interview, I'm gonna ask y'all the final question we usually ask everybody. What's the biggest motivation y'all have?
For me, it would probably be, family and like the people who believe in me, just seeing other people proud. And like, I feel like seeing people proud is like a result of them believing in you and helping you. So yeah, that'll probably be it.
For me, I think playing O-line, what really motivates me is just the fact that a lot of the aspects of the game kind of rely on that position. I think just looking back at our 1-9 season sophomore year O-line, we weren't very strong. So I think it can affect a lot of things because no matter how good your backfield is, you don't have blocks, you don't have a good team. So that, and I always try to Bible says, do everything as if you're doing it for the Lord. I mean, I might be a little upset when I got to do the dishes, but I try to, that mindset of just to take the day, give everything you got, no matter the circumstances, So yeah, that's about it.
Guys, like I said, great interview, and we'll see y'all out there Friday night. Thank y'all.
Blackberry Winter partners with just about every agency that helps people in Southwest Virginia. We're We work with Child Protective Services, Appalachian Agency on Aging. We help the veterans. Anyone can get help from Blackberry Winter. They just can't ask for it for themselves. They have to have someone to help us help them. Someone that's not in crisis that can provide, trucks and people to come and pick up the furniture that's donated and that we are given to them. So that generally comes through a social service program, but not always. Sometimes it's family members or friends who are trying to help one of their loved ones that is going through a cold snap in life.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with our previewing picks of the region championship. We have Thomas Walker's coach on with us, Tanner Hall. How you doing?
Good, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on here and everything you guys do to bring attention to what our kids are doing and all the local teams in the area. So I think it's a really cool thing. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, Coach, and we appreciate that. And we've talked about you a few times this year. We talk about you every week when we do a preview and stuff. But even before the episode, we talked, and we thought y'all had a really good year this year. And so I'm curious to get to know you more, as well as a lot of the fans are. I want to start off with just giving you an opportunity to tell everybody about yourself and your coaching career up to this point.
Yeah, so I played high school ball at Union and was fortunate enough to kind of, after I graduated, Coach Turner was kind enough to let me kind of be around and kind of see what that transition from player to coach looks like. And it's a little bit more drastic than you think. You grow up playing a game your whole life, and then coaching is just a whole nother thing. And of course, on that coaching staff, Coach Rhodes, who's at Eastside now, he was the defensive coordinator at the time, and so when he got the head coaching job at Eastside, I was lucky enough to go up there and work under Seth Padgett for a year, who's at Patrick Henry. He was offensive coordinator. And then I got to become a coordinator at Eastside pretty young, which, I appreciate Coach Rhodes for kind of having that confidence in me and giving me a shot there. And then graduated college, had to get a real job, teaching. And that opportunity came at Lehigh. So I spent a year under Coach Carroll at Lehigh, which was great. And then I got an opportunity to be the head coach at Thomas Walker the next year. So happened pretty fast for me. Become a head coach at 25, but I was really blessed with some great mentors to this day that have been through everything, and I can call them and really count on those guys.
I just want to start off by giving you a shout out on your beard. I think I know Coach Rhodes, and we had one more.
It's better than Rhodes.
Kind of in the running, yeah. But I think I'm going to go ahead and make it official. You've best beard on the show so far.
Well, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, for sure. Going into this year, I know you set out. Most teams kind of one game at a time mentality, but I feel like as a coach, you kind of have a goal in mind, whether you say it out loud to anybody or not. What are your thoughts on your season? Was your expectations? Did you break them? Did you kind of get where you wanted to go? Or
Right. Well, coming into this season, we graduated pretty much about half of our team last year. We had to replace 8 starters on both sides of the ball. And so kind of everybody, I feel like outside of our program, didn't really have a very high expectation for us coming into the year with just what we had to replace. But, we knew we had some talented kids coming up and we returned some really good players, the ones that were coming back. And day one, obviously you want to compete and have a chance to win your district, and hopefully you're in the running for that. We obviously fell short of that, but making the playoffs was another big goal for us. And I think just getting back into the playoffs, our kids kind of tasting that success and kind of what that feels like. I think it'll be really good for the kids we've got coming back. And as far as expectations go, I think not to our standard, but I feel like the general consensus is that maybe we might have overachieved a little bit, just based off what we had coming back to start the year. But our kids, that they were had that goal in mind, and they were able to accomplish it.
Yeah, I think y'all had a great year. I mean, I think it's probably the starting of, what's to come. Uh, but yeah, I'll give you the opportunity to kind of just talk about some of your players, give them a shout out. And I know there's a few that, obviously we've all heard of, but even just some that maybe don't get the spotlight they deserve, but, they definitely earned it.
Well, Dylan McCurry, I feel like he had just about as good of a high school career that you could ask for. He finished his career with over 4,000 rushing yards. He's got just about every school record that you could have on both sides of the football. And he's been very instrumental in kind of helping us get closer to where we want to go. Um, and we had a lot of young guys, new faces, that had to take on some big roles. Clay Cheek at quarterback. Malachi Langley had a really good year for us. And some guys that, we had one of our defensive ends, Adrian Grable, he was a kid that like snuck in on some JV games, last year as a junior, and just the work that he put in the off season to get to where, not only was he starting for us, but he had a really good year. So, we had a lot of kids that they had a really good off seasons and they put a lot of work in, and I think it did a lot for our culture.
I'm gonna jump back to your playing days a little bit. Talk about playing at Union. What was it like playing in that difficult? I guess it was Mount Seven then. That far. I guess it was Mount Seven then when you played, or is it?
Yeah, my senior year we went to
okay.
the Mount Seven. So.
Well, even before that, whatever it was, they're always in a tough division, conference, whatever it was. Just from a player, from that perspective for folks who, when I played, we wasn't in a terrible district, but it wasn't as loaded as that. But just from people who maybe don't realize what that's like going through that gauntlet every year, what was it like playing in that district?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of had to bring it every week. Back then, Richlands was a huge game for us. There was 3 years in a row where that game was decided on the last play of the game. You look at Lehigh had some really good teams back then. The whole schedule was kind of stacked, and you had to bring it every week. And being in that environment, a lot of people kind of forget now, but the first year of Union was my freshman year, and we went 5-6 and lost to some really good football teams. And so, you kind of remember that feeling, and I think seeing what it's become now and kind of the run of success, knowing that they've played quality football teams year in and year out, I think it just makes it kind of that much more impressive what they've been able to do.
And we're kind of getting on Union a little bit, but I do have to ask you, Bullet Park's one of the most historic places to play at around here. Just how did it feel playing on that field? And did y'all have any traditions or anything you did there at Union? And to kind of bounce off of that, even at Thomas Walker, do y'all have any traditions that you try to establish, whether that be a walk at or some kind of pregame meal or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think at Union you kind of got there was a rich history of football already established, from High Valley and Appalachia, kind of both sides. You tried to encompass both of those, and you walk down the field, the thunderstruck, the fans getting there super early. There was already a lot of elements that were already there from the schools that made Union. And then kind of coming to Thomas Walker, there's a lot of things that I guess at Union where you kind of there's so many things that are already in place, I guess, if that makes sense. And then going to Thomas Walker, there's a lot of things that we're trying to get going and just bring more attention to our football program. I feel like we've been able to do that. I mean, haven't been able to establish those things kind of like we want to just yet, but I think we're getting there and establishing like what our tradition looks like already, but then kind of the new things that we want to incorporate too. So,
jumping back over to your current district in Cumberland, Cameron threw out a cool stat when we were interviewing the Eastside guys. How long did you say it had been, Cameron, since Cumberland team
I think it was
made it.
year 2000. I think is what the Bristol paper said that since they made it to since they've won the region championship, and I think it was 88 since two Cumberland teams were in the region championship playing against each
Okay.
other.
Right.
But let's say historically some pretty good, really good teams in the Cumberland. As a coach now in that district, especially the last several years, very very competitive district. A lot of good teams in it. What's that like from your perspective?
I think there's a lot of really good coaches in the Cumberland district. Obviously I've got a ton of respect for Coach Rhodes, and had the opportunity to work for him, was great. But, you look at the turnaround that Coach Collier's made at Ryco, just the teams like are historically good. John Alberton has been good forever, and I think like numbers wise at Castlewood, Coach Chisholm, they're definitely going in the right direction. They got a lot more kids out, and I think the Cumberland district as a whole is a lot more competitive right now in these last few years than from top to bottom, probably than it was in years past. But you don't want to finish third in your district, but if you do, and the two teams in front of you are playing for the region championship, it doesn't seem quite as bad.
Yeah, definitely. And I think all the competition definitely makes each team better, and makes every one of you all better going into the playoffs, having to deal with that. So I guess before we get into the previews, I did want to give you a chance to talk about the community that y'all have over there. Just give you a chance to shout out them.
Oh, they've been great, and our community support has been awesome. Our kids, they don't go without for anything, whether, it's a fundraiser to get, new jerseys or new this. Like we've been fortunate to replace a lot of things in a short amount of time, largely, in part because of our community support. We really needed to resurface our game field. We were able to sprig it with Bermuda 2 years ago, which, was a pretty costly project. We were able to get a new scoreboard this year. Kids got all the newest stuff and jerseys and everything else. And so, our community support's awesome, not only financially, but like from year one to now, the amount of people that are at our games and are interested in what we're doing is drastically different.
I've been asking all the players and guess this for like probably the last 2 weeks at least. But especially with tomorrow being Thanksgiving, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you also. If you could only pick one, would you go turkey or ham?
I think I'm going to go. That's a good question. I'm going to go with the turkey, I think.
Okay.
We'll go turkey.
And if you could only pick 3 sides, what would it be?
Mac and cheese, for sure. Mashed potatoes, deviled eggs.
All solid answers. And the turkey ham question is really contingent on how the turkey's cooked. I think we've established that.
Yeah,
So,
that's the key right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Perfect
mac and cheese has been a very popular answer.
Yep.
So, probably more than anybody else, that's been the one that almost everybody has said.
See, I got a Traeger for my birthday, so I'm smoking everything right now.
Oh
smoked
gosh,
mac and cheese,
yeah.
smoked turkey, man. That's where it's at.
Now
here
Cameron
we go.
Cameron wants to have you back on next week, just you two, to do a podcast about smoking meats.
There we go. There we go.
Well, before we get in our preview, what's your favorite thing to smoke? Like, I'll put it like this: what's your favorite meats? Like, because my favorite's brisket.
I was gonna
That's
say
my
I've not done
favorite.
a brisket yet. But
you need to do it.
my wife, she loves the ribs, man. We're smoking ribs all the time. But that or a Boston butt, just good old fashioned.
Oh yeah,
Can't beat it.
Yeah. That's definitely. I think that's if I was to tell anybody what to start out doing, it would be one of those. It's just, you can go to bed and just let it ride. But I will say a brisket, man, it's the most rewarding because the taste is just amazing. But you feel like it's the biggest risk because of the price you're gonna pay for it. Yeah. And then when you don't get it right, because I think on everything that I've smoked, the first time I've screwed it up bad, and throwing that kind of money away is it's rough. But it's worth it once you get the hang of it.
Blackberry Winter doesn't step in when someone needs just one or two things. I did when I first started this, but there wasn't enough donations to maintain that, and it would end up that people who had nothing, I wouldn't have enough furniture to give them. So we don't help when people just need a living room suite or a bedroom suite, or it's when people are starting over from nothing. With the recent hurricane and floods, we've had almost double the request. People have lost their homes to water damage and trees and things. We also help people when their houses is burnt, or if they've been sick and they've lost their home because of illness. People have been imprisoned. We work with the Department of Corrections, and when the parole officers feel like they are doing well and need a hand up, they'll come and get the furniture for them and take it to them.
Well, guys, we'll get into the 2 games we have this week, the region championship games. We'll start off with 2D. Jamar, you want to kind of announce that one out for us?
We got Union headed back over to Mitchell Stadium, take on Graham. Seems to be a yearly tradition now. This game is played. It's so I mean, it's I don't know how many years out of how many years, but it's got to be a lot that these two teams have met here in the past several years. Go ahead, Ken. I'll let y'all pick if you want to, but
That'll work.
Talk about it however you want to do it.
Yeah, I'll how we've been doing the past few weeks. I'll go ahead and kind of give my pick and my spill on it, and then we'll go to you, Coach Hall, and then Jamar. And it is 9 times out of the last 13 seasons, I think is what I saw. So
Is that all?
yeah, I know, just 9 times, but they are definitely 2 of the top teams in the region. They have been 2 of the top programs, 2 of the top coaches, 2 of the top talents when you just see the kids on the field. I think it's just going to be a repeat of the last game as far as how physical it is, and this is a matchup where 1 or 2 plays really makes a difference. And I think from what I remember, I didn't get to watch the last game, but from talking to people and then just reading about it, it seemed to be that Cam had a huge run at some point. I think there in the first half. Depends on who you ask. Some people say it was a broken play. Some people just say it was a well-designed play by Union. And I've noticed that we get 2 different answers depending on who we talk to. But regardless, second half, though, was all Graham defense. And that unit has been a very special unit. Amari Hill and I think his name is it Williamson, I think, on the D-line we talked about before. And they got D1 talent over there. And secondary ain't bad either. So it's just going to be a physical game again. It's at Mitchell Stadium this time. And from what I remember, I'd have to look up the exact stats. But I think, Jamar, if I could go back probably to the last time they played during our episode, we actually had our stat guy list out all the times they played. And it was weird because it was like every time the team that won the regular season lost the postseason. And then it was also something to do with like the team that was home was the one that lost most of the time. So there's a lot of interesting things about this game that you could probably get lost in. If I'm to make a pick, and this is all just going off of things we've heard. We've heard that Union, even though last week I thought they played very well, but I've heard that they've had some guys banged up here and there. And I think that Graham is just really like coming into their own right now. They are not that they wasn't playing great already, but these last 2 weeks they've just been lights out. And I had Virginia High going to state on this side. I was a believer that they could pull off the upset. I'm going with Graham again, but now I think this is going to be another. It might be a 12-6 game or 14-7. I don't know what the kicking situation is there, but it's definitely going to be very close.
Yeah, I think both defenses are playing at a really high level. I think it kind of like you said. I think you kind of race the 21 points. Whoever gets there first probably going to win the game. But I think it'll just kind of come down to those big plays. I think Union's probably going to try to control the clock, shorten the game, and you start looking at I mean, you're going to hear Keith Chandler a lot, I'm sure. He's probably going to touch the rock quite a bit, and I'm gonna go with the Bears on this one. I think Cam Bostic probably good for a couple explosive plays, and I think they can get the ball in the end zone. But I want to pick Union in a probably a low scoring game, and it's going to be tight. But I'm gonna go with the Bears.
I think it's going to be a little bit more offense than the last time they met. I think 7-0 won it, or 7-6.
7-6, I think.
7-6, I think won it. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's one of those deals where you really don't know. There's really there's not a wrong answer here. I don't think pick wise. I think it's literally a few plays that'll make a difference in the game, whether it be a turnover here or just one missed tackle somewhere. I mean, it's just so many little details that could completely change it. I just like I said last week, as much as I thought Virginia High was going to have come out and it be a very competitive game, I'm not going to pick against Graham again until they prove me wrong. That's just or not till they prove me wrong, but until somebody beats them. That's just kind of how it goes. But I do think there is something, the little stat you were talking about, that's weird. Something weird about it that may be in Union's favor. But I don't know. I'm going to pick Graham. Just that performance last week was crazy. I really didn't expect them to come out and completely shut Virginia High out like that. I think it'll be a little tougher this week. I can see it being a little higher scoring than the first meeting. I'm going to go 17-14. I think a field goal wins it for them.
And, I mean, to Union's point, winning a game like that against Ridgeview last week, where it did go down to the wire, I think that kind of puts like a sense of belief in you too. I mean, to go through the adversity, and then go into this game, I think that kind of gives you some momentum. And the old saying goes, it's hard to beat a team twice.
I think you'll see some more wrinkles too. I mean, Union kind of come out like a gun tee or a little pistol full house set last week. And I'll probably go watch the game. I'm excited to see what wrinkles get thrown out. I'm sure there'll be some of that on both sides. So I think it's just kind of both sides are going to run the football, but it'll kind of come down to those explosive plays and who can stop them or who can generate them.
Is this one on Saturday or is it tomorrow night or Friday night?
I think it's
Saturday.
Right, so this is what I'm happy about. I meant to mention this to you earlier. Finally, I'm going to get to go to watch 2 games this week because they're not all on Friday. So I'm pretty happy about that. So I'll be at that one Saturday unless something changes.
Yeah. Now, Coach Hall, did you get a chance to play Graham during those years that you played? I know that Graham there for a little bit before Coach Palmer got there had kind of fell off. I mean, y'all could have probably played him during the regular season, but
we played him my sophomore year in the playoff at their place, and we ended up upsetting them. Yeah, it was my sophomore year. That was before that they weren't then what they are now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we played them one time.
Yeah, I know that you had mentioned playing against Richlands in those few years, and so I was at a few of those games. So I couldn't remember how Graham was. I know Graham had was it Cam Allen there at one time? That might have been after you.
That was like right after me.
Was it? Okay, that's what I was curious about. So going into Region 1D, this is kind of I like to say this is the big one, but they're both huge. I know for a lot of the listeners that listen to this show, we have a lot of Rye Cove listeners, a lot of Eastside people that listen. The last time we were at this game, we couldn't find a place to stand. For me, as I already mentioned by Jay Moore in the last interview we did, I'm only 5'5", so I'm going to have to get there a few hours early and try to get some piece of that fence to where I can see over somebody. But if not, I'm going to have to do something. I might be climbing some bleachers or something.
I didn't say you were 5'5". You put that information out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true.
I just said that sometimes, depending on who's in front of you, you have a hard time seeing over people. That's all I said.
I'm right there with you, brother.
Yeah, see, man, I got to get there early and try to find a spot. It's going to be packed. It was packed last time. I think this is a game that is going to be very physical. We talked about it last week with the Grundy team that's coming over, and even with the Eastside and Patrick Henry game. Both games last week was going to be physical games. But when we watched Rykov last Friday, I did not expect that, and that's not selling Grundy short or anything like that. I think they still had a few big plays, but I think Rykov, they just everything came together perfect. Their game plan hit. Defensively, they were sound. I think I've been telling you, Jay Moore, or maybe it was somebody else. It really felt like they studied film every single day, not just the coaches, like the players. Looked like they went that extra mile and really dug into that because they did great. But physicality though, seeing some of those hits that Rollins from Rocco was putting on last week was huge, and I can only imagine him and Keldon just kind of hitting head on helmet to helmet this week because I know that those two are going to be bringing it. And the line of scrimmage is going to be a point to watch. You have Reagan and Yasir in them that we had on, and then you got the Lawson kid and some of those kids from Rye Cove, and it's just like two Goliaths just going at it. And I really think that the 40-8 score that we got, whatever week it was not at all indicative of how that game went. And if you watch, like, we were at the game, and up until like 6 minutes ago,
It was
maybe
like
even
literally
less than that.
almost 3.5 quarters, basically.
Yeah,
It was like a 1 or 2 possession game, maybe 2 at most, but 1 for most of it.
Yeah, and Coach Rhodes talked about it last week. He said it's kind of at that point you're kind of going a little bit out of what you usually do, and you're trying to shoot 3-pointers at that time, and just to catch up. But I think this game's going to be a lot closer this time, and I'm like you more. Like, this is one of those that I'm kind of having a really hard time with picking. And not only that, but going forward, kind of what we want to see, because I think that whoever wins this has a really good shot at winning against if they play I don't know if it reseeds, but if they play Region C, feel really good about it. And I think all roads are going to lead to playing against Alta Vista the way that I've kind of read about them and seen some of the stuff there. Think that Rye Cove may be better equipped for that, just watching them. But there's also something about Eastside with the way they've been playing. They're just the togetherness they have. And I think all aspects of their team right now, you might not have one area that you look at and you're like, whoa, but I think every area is good, like very exceptional. And so I'm actually going to go with Eastside to win this one. And I want to have Eastside winning it. If I was to put a score on it, I think that it would be around like, I think it's going to be a low score. I think it'd be like 18-16. There's some 2-point conversions in there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think you got two teams that are playing their best football at the right time. And I think it'll be kind of a little bit like we're talking about with Union and Graham. I think it'll be a lot of kind of banging your head against the wall 2 yards, 3 yards at a time. I think for Eastside, third down is going to be a big deal on both sides of the ball. Rocco, with what they do on offense, they don't find themselves in a lot of third and long situations. You get a lot of 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. So can you get off the field? Eastside's defense, can they get off the field in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, or can they cause some 3rd and longs for Rocco? And kind of the same thing when you flip it. I mean, I don't know. I think you'll see some wrinkles from both teams. If there was a team that could do it, would be Eastside, but I don't think anybody can just line up in the eye and just run it down Rocco's throat. So, and the same thing for Eastside's defense. I mean, both defenses are really good. I mean, we obviously struggled against both of them. So I think it'll be kind of who can generate the explosive plays and who can convert third downs and get off the field on third down on defense. I'm going to go to this game too, and I'm not going to make either of these fan bases mad, so I'm not going to pick this one. So I'm going to leave that to you guys.
We told the Eastside players, last week I said, if anybody wanted to come on and tell us how wrong we were, they're more welcome. We had 2 of them on, and they didn't bring it up really, but I give them let them know that I apologize. Well done. I really don't want to pick this week. I've been thinking about this all week. I really have. I've been thinking about how I was going to word it, what I was going to say. I don't want anything to do with picking this game. I will. I'll get to it here in a minute, but I don't want to. you get to know these. I'm not get to know them obviously, but just for the few minutes we get to have them on, and you really start to like just almost start pulling for teams. And we've been had both of them, Eastside and Rackhove, on this year, and it's just hard to pick against either one of them. I like just like people from both sides. Both sides tend to really support our show and comment and interact with us. I do think it'll be a different ball game than last time. I think it'll be a little more offensive minded. I think go back watching the film. I think they can make some adjustments, and I can think the little wrinkles to move, get a little bit, few more points up. I don't think it'll be a lot more though. I think field position last time was the huge factor, especially in the first half. It seemed like Eastside had terrible starting field position every time they started to drive. And it seemed like Racco was probably midfield or better a lot. I think it was a big difference in just, it seems like, Eastside just never could get out of that end zone and maybe have a chance to open it up a little bit. And they were still right in the game. Like you said, for 3.5 quarters, they were right there. I think it's going to be out there again. I think for the entire game, it's going to be close and back and forth. I could see it being like 28-24 or 24-20, something like that this time. Maybe even a 2-point game just come down to a 2-point conversion, who gets it and who doesn't. But I've done it all year, and if for no other reason other than the excuse I used last week, they sent me a hat. So go Warrior, go, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a heck of a game, and I think that it's going to be packed out. I think you said you're going to be there, so we're all three going to be there, as well as many other coaches and athletes, I'm sure. And it's just one of those special times, man, being a part of a game like that.
We're probably going to end up going with Mark, more likely.
Yeah.
It's out and working out. So we're probably going to end, and I know, just there's not going to be no room anywhere really, but we're probably going to end up standing on the Eastside sideline over on the fence. So I probably should have went different, if for no other reason, just so I don't get something thrown at me for there. But like I said, it's all up on both sides. I just, at this point in the year, I picked them early in the year. I got to go with them, but I'm looking forward to Virginia High and Union, or I'm sorry, Union and Graham. I really am. I'm looking forward to that game. But they've both been there, it seems like, so many times. Graham's won the state championship here recently. It's been a while for both these Eastside and Graham, or Eastside and Rock Cove communities. It just seems like it has to mean a little more. You know what I mean? To the community, to the players. It's just been so long. So I'm so excited about this game. The atmosphere there is going to be absolutely electric. And I almost get chilled just thinking about it, like how just to be a fan of one of those schools and be a parent of one of those players. I've heard my dad talk about watching us and how nervous they get. Like, I couldn't imagine being a parent having a kid play in that game Friday. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I can't wait.
Well, and I think, kind of you talked about that a little bit, but, was 4 years ago, Rocco, didn't finish their season, and 2 years ago, Eastside was 1-9, to just see what this group, of athletes have done for both schools and these coaches. And you got some really good players, some really good coaches, and it'll be a really high level of football.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think we can all agree, as far as, the picks and stuff, at least more, going into next week, we've been unbiased up to this point. Next week we can be biased because we're going to definitely pull for the region, the region team, whoever does.
For sure. And I've not worn that hat to a game yet, and I'll not have it on tomorrow night because, I feel like as long as there are two teams in the region, but if Racco makes it past, or if Eastside makes it past, I'll get Mark to give me a hat. I will be repping gear and everything if we go to any of the state games. I'll have a Racco shirt on or an Eastside shirt on. Same for Union and Graham. For me, after this week, we can really start actually pulling for one team or another. But I want to go back and touch on something you said earlier about I can't remember his name now. The linebacker for Racco, the fullback.
Rollins.
Rollins, yeah. I can't wait to hear what sound is made if him and Hamilton
Him and Keldon, yeah.
head on. Yeah, those two, like he had a couple of hits last week against Grundy that I can't even imagine how. I mean, he absolutely, when he gets going downhill, he can absolutely stick to people. And Keldon, same way when he gets going, and it's almost like what's it called, an unstoppable force meeting a movable object, almost like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun if they meet in the hole somewhere. And but yeah, like I said, I can't state enough how excited I am about watching this.
Well, having coached against both of them this year, you didn't, when they were making tackles, you didn't really have to guess who made that tackle, after you heard it. So
Yeah,
they're both
100%.
really good football players.
Yeah, and Keldon on defense, same way. I mean, coming out, it's not just
Yeah,
it's
All-State
both
last
sides.
year.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
both of them run the ball,
Yeah.
and it's not just those two. Like, there's a bunch of guys on both those teams that like the guys we had on from Eastside, they just like hitting people. That's what when he started playing football, he's like, I got to hit people, and I liked it. So, yeah, it'd be a very physical football game, I think. And two sides too, because Union and Graham's going to be extremely physical. Also, I think it's kind of the main ingredient. I feel like around this area, especially if you want to go far in the playoffs, you have to be a physical football team more than a finesse team to get where you want to go, especially on this side of the state. Probably on the other side too, but I feel like there's this, especially over here on this side, it's the physicality tends to win out. I don't know if it's weather in the playoffs and that travel is better than other things, but it seems to be a common phrase of how physical teams are when they make it.
Well, I don't know what the weather is going to be Friday night, but I wouldn't want to be throwing the ball 30 or 35 times. I know that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think it's supposed to be cold, but yeah, it's gonna be a great game, and prayers up for all four squads. Everybody stays healthy. I didn't even mention that there's an injury or two, I think, last week from the Rye Cove game. I just had read in the paper. I think it was posted like an hour or two ago that I think it was Goins is his name for Rye Cove, that he said he's supposed to be good to go now. So so hopefully everybody's there healthy and they stay that way and have a great game and nothing extra go on during the game and hurt either one of the teams going forward. Before we get you out of here though, Coach, one last question I wanted to ask you.
Actually, I have a question for him too, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, my question is, for Thomas Walker fans, what do you have looking forward to next year that you can kind of let everybody know about?
Yeah, well, we return 18 starting positions off of this year's team, which is kind of like we talked about, was a little bit opposite of what we had coming into this season. And it's the kids we have coming back have been instrumental in kind of getting our culture where we want it. We're season just ended. We're already excited about next season. Already have kids. Hey, when's the weight room going to be open? Wanting to get back at it. And I think, we're obviously not where we want to be yet, but I think we're getting there. And it's because of our kids. It's because of the work that they put in and the togetherness that they have. And I think we're really kind of just like I said, we're not where we want to be yet, but we definitely feel good about where we're going.
I should have let your question be the last one, but this is not really anything involved. This is me being curious. We were talking about the other day. Do you remember the last time a single A Region D team made it to the state finals? Remember when it was?
I think Chilhowie made it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
It's not been very long ago.
Okay.
I think Chilhowie, I don't think they won, but they made it to the state championship game. I don't want to throw out a year, but it would be.
That's probably
the last time somebody won it. Was that probably one of the Burton team, maybe, or probably the last time somebody won a state championship?
We're all stumped on it.
I know Burton played in 5. They didn't win any.
Oh, they didn't win any. Oh, okay. We'll edit this out for the Burton fans, so they don't have to hear that stat.
I mean, you would probably have to go back to your pre-consolidation, maybe
Appalachia opponent. Yeah.
for single A.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's been a long
That's a
time.
long time then, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I was
even before,
thinking of
No,
Clintwood.
Clintwood.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was thinking Clintwood was the
Well,
last one that I
yeah,
remembered.
but that
Yeah.
was one, I guess, technically, but it was the big division, right?
I don't
Or
don't
they,
And
or
so
they
it
the
would
small
have been. They
division.
won it in probably 2012.
I think so because trying to think they won it well the year before Gavin Mead I think played for him I think or for his senior year I mean he played
Okay.
for him but I think it might have been when Dotson and all of them was there.
It was
I can't remember.
the older Daly brother was the quarterback, and I think he got hurt. His younger brother was the backup, and he played quarterback in the state championship game. And the only
Awesome.
reason I remember that is because they beat us. I think it was my sophomore year,
The
2012.
I didn't get to watch him those years, but I did watch when Robbie Mullins was a senior that year. I think it was the same year that Meade was a senior, and that was probably one of the more hard hitting teams I've ever seen, even to this day. Like that was a very physical team. I watched him play a good Hayside team over there. I think during the playoffs, and that Hayside team the next year went on to be in the state semis, and they beat them pretty bad that year. So that's probably the last one I can remember. One of those Clintwood teams winning it. But yeah, it's a tough question. I mean, it's we were kind of racking our brains about it earlier because I thought Clintwood, but I forgot about Chilhowie because they did make it pretty far. Yeah, that's.
Because Holston didn't make it that one year that they were. They went to semi, I think. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
been a lot of semis, obviously, but
yeah. Well, I mean, we have an opportunity this year. One of the teams, we'll see how far they get, and I think looking forward to Region C if that's who they play. I know that Grayson County beat George Wythe last week in a close one, 18-16, I believe. Pretty sure, or maybe it's George Wythe. I think it was Grayson County that won that. I might have to double check it, but regardless, that one is a close game. But then Bath County, I think, is going to play them. But from what I had heard, the better team out there was probably the Grayson County or George Wythe. So we'll see. I think whatever team we have out of 1D, if they play up there, I think it'll be a good matchup. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, Coach, and definitely going into next year, I'd love to have you back on again. Especially coming on football season, we this year we had about 8 or 9 coaches on for a preview. I'd like to exceed that going into the next off season and really give everybody a full rundown on every program going into next year. So that's still a long ways off, but man, we appreciate you coming on, and I know all the fans are going to enjoy hearing you.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. Enjoy your turkey.
I appreciate it. You guys too.
Thank you, Coach.
We furnish all the homes for all the women coming out of the domestic violence shelter. I realized after I started Blackberry Winter that women don't go in the shelter if they have anyone to help them. So they are alone, and they go into the shelter with nothing but the clothes on their back. So when they come out, they have nothing. So it is so important, the work that we do there. I realized when we went in the first home, a lady out of the domestic violence shelter, and she had 2 little girls, and the lady worked 2 fast food restaurants, and they had nothing in their home. Nothing. Not a blanket, not a pillow, not a spoon. And I had the realization that, how long would it take her to get those little girls a bed? Would she ever be able to have enough extra money to afford a bed for them? And that just really put a fire in me that children deserve a bed, and parents who are doing their very best sometimes can't provide it. So that is one of the big things that Blackberry Winter does.
How you doing, guys? before we get off of here, we did want to have a moment to just talk about a few things we have coming up after football season for all the new listeners or the new fans of the show, and we're kind of reflect a little bit on something that happened last week, and just kind of chat a little bit here at the end for those of you that stick around for this part. Um, I just want to me and Jamar talked about it. I just kind of want to talk about this. Last week we were at the Rye Cove game and the Rye Cove and Grundy game, and something that we did not know because we got there just a few minutes late, but they actually used a clip from the episode and played over the speakers over at the Cove to kind of get some of their guys motivated and stuff. And we don't mind that at all. Heck, if every single football team every week wants to use clips, I think that's fine. We don't care about that at all. But I just wanted to kind of take a step back a little bit and just appreciate, or thanking you all for doing that, but appreciating that moment, because it's like we were just kind of two guys sitting here chit chatting about football a year ago. Well, definitely a little bit over a year ago, the beginning of last season. This really just started, just me and you talking, and to see now where it's at, and more importantly, to see some of the exposure and stuff we can give to some of these kids. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, when I graduated, the first few years after I graduated, I was really into it. A lot of the local sports. I knew a lot of the kids, even at the other schools. But then as life kept going, started working, and I kind of lost track of who was playing, who was even good, who wasn't good. There for like a few years, and I think this podcast, and along with some of the others, are great ways for some like your working people that are especially working on the road or something, just to be able to listen to this and still have an idea of like, okay, so this is where Rye Cove is now, and not only that, but this is who Landon Lane is. Like this kid, I like this kid. You start getting a little bit relatable uh, to some of these kids, getting to know some of them, and just like we are interviewing them. And I think that's a really special moment to look at for us, to see what they did last week. I mean, to see that a part of our clip, a part of our interview was on the speakers at a regional semifinals game. Was a pretty humbling moment. I just wanted to kind of talk about it for a second.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It is kind of crazy to think about the first year we did this with the, kind of how we were. I don't want to say we're good at it now, but I feel like we're a lot more comfortable. But as far as the interaction we have now, compared to that first year, I don't think we've really gotten much better at necessarily. I do think though that people actually there's something that we do that people tend to at least. I mean, we got people who tell us almost everywhere we go each week that they listen. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of that is the player interviews, but also we have players that tell us that they listen and that they are excited about coming on. And that's the coolest thing for me is that they actually, I think there's players out there that actually really look forward to, from hearing from us. And like if we reach out, they're like actually really excited to come on. Because that's the most important thing to me. Because I feel like for most of last year it was like not inconveniencing them, but kind of like I felt bad to ask, almost. And now I feel a little less of a like not a burden, but I feel a little less like we're making them take time out. Because I think a lot of them do want to come on now, so that's cool to me. That's what I like the most about it now is that they want to do it. And I love talking to these coaches and stuff too. It's getting that perspective of it. I think it's really enjoyable for a lot of people to hear the interviews with whoever it is. Speaking of going to games, I've been doing that for a long time. I've been picking out games basically ever since I used to help keep stats for Tommy at Twin Valley. Ever since I quit doing that, and because of work and I couldn't get to all the games, I decided that I was going to pick out the best game each week and go to it. And that's how I ended up at a lot of those Union Graham games. Just because it was the best game that week. So I'm happy that you were back into it and I had somebody to go with because I was dragging my poor dad around with me, making him go to a lot of these games that he wanted to go, but he I think a lot of times he was just going because I asked him to go instead of because he'd be tired or whatever, but he'd go anyway. So now I got you to go with me. It makes it a lot more fun for me. We can talk about all these games, and just like last week on the way to Rye Cove, which hour and 20 minutes from your house, whatever. We had a great conversation just that we probably wouldn't have had if we hadn't been going to a game. You know what I mean? Like we can sit down and hang out a lot, but we don't have a lot of time to just sit. You're driving, you can just talk basically. So it opens up room for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to basketball season. Did you? I think you mentioned that when you started back about how we're going to do it, or did you
Yeah, I
get
don't
to
know
that
if
yet?
I haven't went to it yet.
Okay. Well, I'll get into it for you.
Good.
For people, like I said, new listeners or anybody that doesn't know, we will be covering basketball season. I'll let Cameron get into a little bit more of the details of how we're going to try to do it. But I think that I like basketball more than football, but I feel a little more comfortable talking about basketball a little bit than football because football for us, we play at Twin Valley. I don't think we have to have had played at a successful school or been on good teams to be credible. But I think it would help if we had played on good teams. But I feel like basketball though, there's a little bit more credibility to what what we're talking about. Uh, but not saying we were either one of us were terrible at football, but team wise and career wise, we wouldn't like we didn't stand out that much. You know what I mean? So for us to get into basketball, I feel like I sound like I at least know a little bit more about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, definitely. And before I get into that, because I do want to kind of comment on that, but I do want to say before Friday night, uh, it's also a special moment because the two fan bases. I think I'm not just going to exclude Honaker. Honaker is a very big community that helped get us started. And the success they had last year, we were right there covering that. And do not want to, kind of skip by them. They were very important in just listening to us and sharing our stuff. But besides Honaker, Rye Cove and Eastside has probably been our two biggest audiences. And so I just also wanted to say that for Friday night, that's also a special moment because I think it's kind of cool being around those communities and, just knowing the support we've had from both of them. I really enjoy that and appreciate that. And before I get into the basketball stuff, if anybody knows what the I don't want to say rules are, but the criteria, I don't want to say criteria, just tailgating Friday night. Like a lot of playoff games, people tailgate beforehand, might just hang out a little bit, getting there super early. What's the situation over at Rye Cove? Oh, I know there's not a whole lot of parking space in the parking lot, but me and Jamar was talking about it earlier. We'd like to get there a little bit early, just hang out, talk to a few people.
We're
Might
going to
bring
get
some
there
food.
early.
We're gonna get there
There's
early
not,
regardless.
but
Yeah, I mean,
it would be cool to be able to maybe
yeah,
if we knew we could do like let's bring some stuff, just kind of hang out. If other people were going to be doing it, we could walk around maybe, and
yeah.
just
Well, other
like
playoff games, especially on a Saturday, that's something that a lot
yeah.
of people, a lot of schools do. I know, like I said, I know there isn't as much room up there, but that's not to say that. I mean, it could still, still happen.
I would
So just
imagine that people are going to be starting parking in there probably well before 3 or 4 o'clock. I would think. But I don't know for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Not
But
sure what the
just throw that out there. We're curious on that. But anyway, yes. So touch on the basketball, 100%. Like, um, you don't like to toot your own horn, so I'm going to toot it for you just a tad bit.
Go ahead. You're gonna edit this out.
You was I'm not going to
No,
say a whole lot. I'm just going to
no.
say
We're
I'm
gonna
just
edit
going to
this out.
say that you was very successful in basketball, and the team that you was on was definitely one of the better teams in Southwest Virginia. So yes, you are right. Like you do, and not only that, but your family has had a lot of success in basketball, and I think that has also provided you all getting to know a lot of coaches and other players and stuff like that, and I enjoy listening to you talk about some of the history in basketball, and not only that, but hearing you talk to some of the coaches and stuff, and where you can kind of connect with them. I enjoy listening to that myself because of the history that you know. And I mean, that's just the same as if I was talking to uh, your dad or, when we go to the ball games with Mark. I really enjoy hearing all that. So it's definitely different in some ways like that. Not to say that, I think I really enjoy talking about football with both of us. But definitely, I get what you're saying with the basketball stuff.
No,
But I do.
and I just want to say real quick too. I absolutely love football and talking about it every aspect of it. Also, I just feel like sometimes, even when I know what I'm thinking, I don't feel like it comes off like when I ask questions sometimes or just elaborate on things. Maybe it don't come off as smooth as my words don't match what I'm actually thinking in my head as far as what I want to say. Basketball, I feel like it just comes out much more clear about what I'm actually, you know what I mean? Like I'm able to articulate it better about putting the words what I mean with basketball.
Yeah.
So it's just
Well,
it's not I enjoy it more. It's just seems to be easier for me to talk about.
oh yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think most people that listen, they're going to understand what you're saying. Um, for those that don't know, like I said, that have just started watching, last year we covered basketball then. Um, if you want to go back and kind of check out how that was, I mean, I know things are different now. The way we do our episodes now, I think like you said, we've gotten more organized. I think we were a little bit better at it. Um, it's probably watching those old episodes that even from a year ago probably feels a little bit different. But with that being said, there's a lot of great player interviews. We had
We went on a ride, went on a
Looney.
whole journey with Eastside girls
Well,
last year.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I
That
was
was
gonna get to
fun. I
that.
must
Yeah,
say, yeah.
I know we had Looney on from Grundy. We had Bailey on from Hurley. We had Ella Rasnick on from Council. Neil. We had him on. Who else? I was trying to think of some of the other
Gate
people we had.
City, the guy
Yeah,
that was
Gunner Garrett had
yeah.
him on. Then I was gonna lead up until lead into the East Side thing because we also had Lambert on as well from Lebanon.
Yeah.
That was a really good one too. But yeah, definitely leading into the East Side one because that was definitely they won state last year. We had Taylor on twice. She was a great interview with her.
Yeah. Shout out Taylor Clay. That
Yeah.
was like one of our first ones that like when we did an interview early on, I was like, you can't help but just really pull for her just because of how great a kid she was. That's one of those examples we was talking about with like getting to do these interviews and you kind of become fans and you follow them and you can't help but root for them. She's one of the first real that really stuck out that for whatever reason. And I mean, obviously
Yeah.
Mark was assistant coach there too, so it didn't hurt any. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that a lot of people still say that the interview with Taylor was their favorite. So it kind of just speaks what you're saying. But we also had the follow up one with Coach Funk and them. So and for that one, I'm kind of MIA through most of it. So
well,
you'll see
and
a lot of
and
technical difficulties too through some of those old episodes.
shout out to
But
Coach Funk.
yeah,
When we're at the bench ball game, she'll holler at us, say
definitely.
hello. So
Yep, and yeah, so that was the last season. So this year is going to kind of look like the same in some aspects, but also different in some others. Uh, for your football fans that was following us beginning of the year, we had a high school football preview, and we weren't able to get every coach on in the region. Although I think as the season went on, we've done a pretty good job at trying to get a lot and I think we've got most of them. But before the season, we did get a number of coaches. I think we got about 8 or 9 that we interviewed. They wasn't like super long interviews, but just a small taste of who they are, what the program's like, expectations going into the year, and maybe some players to watch on their teams. I kind of like the way I kind of envisioned it, or not necessarily envisioned it, but just compared it to was like your paper that you'd get with the high school preview, and that's kind of what we're kind of like what we talked about doing to kind of give a video or even a Spotify listening aspect of it to where you can kind of have that, but it's not just on paper. But anyway, we're going to try to do that with varsity boys coaches. We're going to get a certain number on varsity girls as well, getting a certain number of them on, and we're going to put that out, right there towards the beginning of basketball season. Which I mean, that's another thing we're going to talk about is that it's kind of already going, it's starting, and we're still trying to have to finish up football. I don't want to take away from the moments in football with the stuff we have going on, especially if one of the teams in which I think they will makes it to the state championship game. I really want to give our full coverage to that because that is something very special. But
Yeah,
once that's over with,
hopefully have 2 teams to cover for
exactly, yeah,
a couple more weeks.
yeah. And so once that's over with, we'll be going, definitely head first into basketball. We'll put out these previews, and then whenever the season starts, we will try to have a varsity boys player on and a girls player on each episode. We kind of did that at certain points last year, but definitely want to try to, if we can, if schedules line up and stuff, try to achieve that this year every week. But especially scheduling wise, I'll just go ahead and bring it up that we try to get these episodes out now on Thursday mornings. Sometimes it's been on Friday mornings, but try to get that out before the Friday night games. Well, in basketball, you might have games every day of the week. So as far as how the episode's going to be laid out, we'll get into that later. But just the release date of their episodes might not be on Thursday. It could be on who knows? It might be on a Tuesday or Wednesday. It might be on a Saturday morning. We might get the interviews done on a Thursday. I don't know. We're just gonna put it out there that we're gonna try to do what is best for the coaches and players as far as scheduling goes, and that kind of puts it to where our release time of our episodes might be at different points. So I just want to throw that out there.
And also, if it we probably won't do many special guest episodes, which we haven't done one in a long time now. But for people who kind of new to the show, we'll do a special guest episode, just kind of following people's basically from their childhood to where they're at now, and covering their careers and playing, coaching, whatever it is. But we may sprinkle a couple of those in there on like a say for example a week where we're not able to really get a guest or player guest or anything. May have may try to do stuff like that, but yeah, I think people like those a lot too. Because most of the time we do the special guest interview, it's usually somebody that's been pretty successful in high school, in their high school career, and college, even. But ain't no criteria for a special guest, but most of the time it's a well-known person, either in their community or the region. People like those, I think, too, and I have a lot of fun doing them. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what the basketball season holds. But very much hoping that we're very busy doing football for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And you're talking about the special guest episodes. For the people that just now started watching this, if you want to see how those work, on the basketball side of it, we released a few before football season started. You had one with Coach Brian Moore from Richlands, the new head basketball coach out there. And then Jeff Lester, we had one about his career and on into college as a two-parter. great episode, hilarious, especially part 2, one of my favorite ones we've ever done. And then, in football, we had Coach Tester, terrific interview with him. It was towards the beginning of, our show. But definitely, if you wonder how those are, like, and kind of what we're talking about, go to our YouTube channel. Right now, they're only on YouTube, and go back and look at some of those. I may, as the season goes on, or even before the season, I might try to throw out one or two of those on Facebook as a kind of like a flashback type thing. Uh, Especially like Jeff's, where it's uh, timeless. I mean, it could, we could throw it out tomorrow, and it's going to be just as good.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, and watch out for those. Like Jay Moore said, we'll have an opportunity to kind of sprinkle more of those in, and at some point, for those of you that are day one listeners, our buddies, we would get them on every now and then and just kind of talk about professional sports, or just kind of shoot the bull, and I don't know where we'll end up, but we did one of those, I think, before the season, kind of giving predictions for college football and NFL and stuff like that. It's really almost more for us than it is for the audience.
Yeah.
It's something fun.
It's kind of
And
what the original intent was of the
yeah,
podcast, was to do those. So I'm with you. I think the reason we try to get those in is it's because mainly just it's a lot of fun for us to do them. I don't know that listeners really like those more, but some people probably would like them more. But for the most part, those are just a whole lot of fun for us to do. That's why
yeah.
we do those.
If you want to help Blackberry Winter, there are a lot of ways you can do that. When you buy a new living room suit and your old one is still in good shape, then you can donate to us. You go through our website and fill out a form. We don't have any employees, so we have no way of picking furniture up, so we need you to bring it to us in Cedar Bluff. We only take furniture that is in good condition. People that's having a hard time don't need broken down, stained, furniture that makes them feel bad about themselves. And I know used furniture, will have a little bit of this or that, but nothing that you wouldn't have in your home yourself. You could also help us through financial donations. We buy all the mattresses and beds that we give to children, and that is 90% of Blackberry Winter's budget. You can go to www.blackberrywinter.org and donate from there. We have PayPal and Venmo. PayPal has a monthly subscription, which is helps so much, even $10 a month, just to know that the money is coming in. So when we order mattresses, we can do it with more confidence that we had the money to do that. You can volunteer with us. It's also through the website, and just spreading the word and helping us help others. We always are needing pillows and blankets and silverware and things like that. So you see that stuff on clearance, buy some for Blackberry Winter. It really works so well because it's a whole lot of people that all just do what they can a little at a time, and it adds up to be a lot.
I was going to throw this out there real quick and let you know I've not even told Cameron this, so this is kind of news to him. What I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to do it on here because this is the only way. Doing it in a public place like this will be the only way I'll have any kind of accountability, I feel like. And we can discuss how we're going to go about it, whether it's some kind of like punishment for not doing it, or if we want to do it week to week basis or monthly basis or whatever. But well, I'm gonna do a weight loss challenge on Porch Talk, and because I need to lose some weight, and I feel like if I know that we're talking about it on here, and people are like, we'll see it, it'll put pressure on myself to actually hold myself accountable and actually make sure I'm doing what I need to do. So we'll figure all that out more. But I was going to run that by you and let you know that would be, I'm going to try to do that. I figured you'd be up for it. So
Awesome.
we
Yeah.
can talk more about the details of that, how we'll put it out. But yeah, I think that's something I'm going to do and go ahead and commit to it tonight.
Yeah, I like the step of courage there you took to, because if it's out here, people can hear it. There's going to be accountability. They already hold us accountable anyway. So.
I will. Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah,
and I will get some batteries, I guess, for the scales here at the house, and I'll post like a weight and let everybody know where I'm starting at. And then I want like kind of the goal to be I think we go to the beach in June, so like by the end of May is where I will try to get down and see what I can do. So just like I said, this is a selfish idea just because I'm one of those people that
I think it's a great idea.
If I have like a goal with some pressure on me and people doing it, I feel like I'm more likely to actually try to do it. So I feel like there's no better pressure than public pressure. So put it out here, get it out there for the world, and then I'll know people are actually maybe keeping up with that, and I'll have to try to reach it. So
yeah, 100%. I think that's a great idea. I think it's a day one of making a change with it. So
I'm getting
I
old,
applaud
man.
you.
I'm getting old. I got to start now. It's actually way past time that I started, but at the same
Better
time,
late than never.
At the same time, yeah. Once you do get to a certain age, it's so much harder. So I am creeping up on that age. Thanks for the birthday wishes there from everybody, by the way. But yeah, I need to do it now. So
there you go, guys. Make sure we hold them accountable. And
nobody's buying us hot dogs at the football games. So
yeah, you got to have listen. We got one more week.
Might as well just...
Well, more than one more week. I hope. A few weeks. But probably at least two more. Getting to go to a home venue. Well, I guess it depends on next week. How the seating works out and stuff. But regardless, yeah. I will say this. Shout out to Rye Cove. Tried the Eagle's Nest. I will say this: I'm not a big fan of hot stuff. Something that Michael didn't divulge there last week. Whenever you don't get the screaming eagle, they call it the wimpy eagle. So you have to say, "Hey, yeah, I want the wimpy eagle," and then they shout out one wimpy eagle. So you kind of have to go through that. I like that little surprise that we got there, or I got there, but it was good. The only thing
I may have to try one this tomorrow night. Friday
yeah.
night.
It's really good. The chili, like the meat that's in it, it's great. The only thing we talked about the other night, because we talked about, which we haven't done this, and I don't know if we will, but we thought it'd be cool to kind of games we're at, try the concession stand food, especially if they got like a specific trademark like meal or item, and kind of just giving a review, not like judging anybody harshly or anything like that, because the community is the work they put in it.
We're not going to go Dave Portnoy and
terrible
people, but just more or less just give our summarization of what we thought. I guess,
and I think the Eagles Nest, I think that was a great little thing. I'll probably get it again come Friday night. But the only thing I would change, and I'm just a huge fan of like nachos cheese, like melted cheese.
In your defense, also, you said this the moment you got it. So this is not you thinking about this all week.
No, this is instant reaction.
The moment you bought it, you looked at me and you said this.
Yeah, I just wish the cheese was a little bit melted. That was my only thing. But that's just a personal preference. It still tasted great. I'm not a big fan of like cold shredded cheese on anything. But I thought it was really good. And like I said, I'm probably going to get it again come Friday night. And I will say, too, that hot chocolate was real good with it being as cold as it was. And come Friday night, I think it's going to be a lot colder. So Might have
I
to
had a
double up on that.
I had a good hot dog. 2 good
See,
hot dogs. I was very
haven't
happy
had
with
the
them.
hot dog yet, so
Well, I don't know what else you got planned here, but I want to bring something up real quick with you.
go ahead. I don't have
Do you
anything
want to
else.
make
Yeah.
Do you want to make a wager on this pull-up bowl game this weekend?
Oh man, I almost went to this. I didn't tell you this because we ended up not doing it, but my wife's boss was selling some tickets, and I think it was like 100 for both together. But ended up deciding not to do that. Like not even trying to pursue that because one reason was because of the weather. It's supposed to be in like around 20 degrees or whatever, and just didn't feel like going through there, and especially I don't know. I didn't. I decided not to do it. But I'm also going to Lynchburg Saturday. Got some family sickness and stuff, so we gotta go see somebody there. So I'll be in Lynchburg all day Saturday night. Probably come back Sunday. So I will be watching the game, or at least listening to the game going up there. But as far as a wager, it's one of those. I feel like we both feel the same way about our teams that we know that we could lose or we could win. Like it's just a toss up. Um, man, a friendly wager. Okay, I'll tell you this. If
You want to hear what I thought, or you got one? Do you think?
well, I got one.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if you have anything like this, but if you have a hokey, like even a finger, a shirt, a hat, heck, after next week, I'll throw it on during the episode.
Well, see, the problem with that is I could only wear a hat of yours.
Well, what I was gonna say is I could probably find some stuff like I got like a UVA flag. We can throw that around you. We can find something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a UVA jersey, I hung up behind you or something.
Wear it for the episode. I like the idea. We can do that.
That would be that'd be the only thing I think. Well, not the only thing, but I think that would be a good one. Some accountability.
I was gonna say if Tech wins, you have to feed me some. It'll be I'm not sure what yet. Maybe some pork chops that you made there a couple weeks ago, or
you like those pork chops,
or,
though.
or good, or a steak. Your steak's good too. And if you won, I dinner would be on me at El Sombrero.
Yeah, that's a good. That might be a side wager.
We can do both. We can do both.
Yeah,
wear the thing. So
there you go. Well, I will say that if we get some answers to the tailgate thing or whatever, I might smoke a pork butt there. Bring it Friday, and I might see if I can get some pork chops too. We'll see.
I hope we get to do that because, or at least like I said, we're going to be there early anyway. I'm going to go on over I think we're going together. We're going to go on over and get there, and even if it looks like there's no point in hurrying to rush into the stadium, get there and just hang out and walk around. Take in the atmosphere. I really am looking forward to it. I think there's just something about both these teams that haven't been there, and I only know the dates of the last time, whether it be Eastside, Coburn, whether it be Rye Cove, when the last time they were in a region championship was, or when the last they won it or was in it.
Also, the last time that, if I'm not mistaken, the last time the Cumberland team had been in it was in 2000, and it was Rye Cove.
That was Rye Cove, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
they lost,
Eastside,
correct? Oh, you said 88 was the last. Okay.
I think so, but now, Eastside, I guess, hasn't, because it's only been 13 years.
Eastside hasn't been, and I don't know that.
Yeah,
if
I don't know before
hadn't
that.
Been maybe I'm sure at some point Copeland probably. I don't know if they were in Cumberland then technically, but I'm not sure what. It might have been the Cumberland that whole time, but like Coburn going back or St. Paul going back a pretty good ways. I'm sure they were in it somewhere.
And
St. Paul, you go back far enough, I think St. Paul might have been the Black Diamond at some point back in like the
well, I was like St. Paul. We were talking about I think he was mentioned earlier, Coach Padgett. Coach Hall mentioned him, and we were talking about, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, just talking about some former players and stuff, and I think he was really good when at St. Paul, so I don't know what they did, as far as a team those years, but now the 88 matchup, like the all Cumberland matchup in 88 that was mentioned, that was also Rye Cove, I think, versus Jonesville, from what I remember reading.
Okay.
So,
well, anyway, like I said when we had Coach on, that's one aspect of the single A game versus the 2A game that really jumps out at me is just that hunger that those communities had to get there and do have that win it. It adds something to it for sure. Like I know some people make fun of us for getting so into high school football, but I love it. I love talking about it. I guess it's just thinking about this opportunity for these teams Friday night. Like it's just I cannot wait to see that atmosphere. It's going to be very, very special.
yeah, I mean, just to close it up, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you look at, which I don't know if Union's won the state. I mean, they've got so close to winning the state. I don't know if they've actually here
Well,
recently got
maybe not
got across the
recently,
finish
no,
line.
but
Yeah, so
you've got like more state
before
championships than you
that,
can count
yeah,
between Appalachia and Powell Valley. So, granted, it's been a while, but they've been in region championship games pretty recently,
yeah,
as I guess. But
yeah,
yeah,
they've had success,
yeah,
and I agree with you. It's kind of like, I mean, that game's, as a spectator, that game is a huge game. A lot of talent on the field. Uh, yeah, I mean, definitely that. I'm not trying to sell that game short at all. But yeah, just to agree with what you're saying, that single A matchup, just like Coach Hall said too earlier, both those teams. I mean, one of them didn't have a program 2 or 3 years ago with
yeah.
this group of kids went through that, and then Eastside as well is like 1-9. This group of kids went through that. And to see, like I said, the players, the coaches, the hard work they put in to get from there at that point, like pretty much rock bottom in a way, to get into where they're at now,
Mm-hmm.
and also the communities, and you especially see it. You see it over at Eastside as well. So I'm not, when I say this, especially in Ryco, I don't mean to slight Eastside. Eastside's community and fan base is just amazing. But Ryco, like, you really, like, I feel like that, I'll give them that. And I've not been over yet to Coburn. Mark's tried to get us over there a few times. And, but I will say, and I think a lot of people I've talked to, coaches and players alike, when you go over to the Cove, it's just something different, man. I'm telling you, like, it really does feel like that whole community goes to that
It's
game.
almost like going to Hurley because it's
Yeah,
so far. It's not completely far out there, but it's not like you're going through 404 lane and just go through a couple towns to get there. Like you got to make a
yeah,
trip to get there, and it's so in those fan bases, it's a small town, and like they're so passionate about when they have a winner, they get behind them so much. But that's kind of what it feels like. It's kind of like when Hurley was really good that year. It's just like
yeah, definitely.
it's kind of different for whatever reason. Um, I had I was going to say not I'm not you not take anything away from the 2A teams, but and it's not their fault obviously, and they wouldn't change it at all. They want this way, but a good example would be it's almost like it's Bama and Georgia again in a playoff. That's kind of what it feels like. You know what I mean? Like that's why this year everybody's so excited. I feel like for that college football playoff where they got those more teams because it was getting to a point where you could almost fill those two in every year. And it's kind of what this feels like. It's not, like I said, it's not their fault. They're happy to be there. They wouldn't want the alternative, but it's like a outside fan of you're not in one of those communities. And you're just a fan of football in general. You're almost like oh, it's tuning in the Grand Plan again. Well, look at these two over here. This is a new thing. So I think it's more like kind of I don't know. Maybe that's not right. Maybe it's just us, but
No,
that's kind of
I
how I
understand
view
what
it
you're
a little
saying.
bit. But
Yeah.
um,
Well,
looking
you have,
forward to both of them though. I
yeah,
can't wait for that Union Graham rematch. That's going to be
yeah.
because I wish I was at the last one after I seen the score. And I'm looking forward to it too.
Uh, Before I close out here, just want to finish up with this. Next week we already got some guests coming on next week. I don't want to spoil that completely.
Going to be a good show next week, I think.
Yeah, but we definitely we have another coach that's already looking to come on. He's gonna come on tonight, but Thanksgiving week is a very busy week, so he's gonna be on. And then we also have something a little bit outside of football that's pretty exciting that happened here around us. We're gonna have some coaches and players on from that, and then I'm sure we'll try to cover whoever does win some of these matchups. I do want to point this out or throw this out there. We have had some heat here recently about not having certain schools on, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes people don't know about, like scheduling and stuff like that. But also, this is a very busy time for these coaches and these players. And, would we have loved to have had people from Ryco, from Union, from Graham, every single school this week? Yes, we would have loved to have had that. Did we try to have it in certain ways? Yes, we did. But we respect all the coaches and players and stuff to really want to buckle down and focus on their games this week. I just wanted to let everybody know that it wasn't for the lack of us trying, I guess. But I also, on that same note, I do want to say I'm really appreciative of the Eastside players that was able to come on, and I'm very thankful we got to have that interview. And
that was a great interview. That was
it
a lot
was.
of
It
fun.
was a terrific interview.
They were a lot of fun.
Yep. Great young kids.
I really would like to sit there and watch them go at it on the NCAA football.
Yep.
That'd be a lot of fun just to watch them play.
Yep, and I think that as I just got the score, and so we'll
is it
post
already over with?
Yeah, it's over with. So I'll post it on Facebook like I said I would in the comments. But it looks like Reagan, he was Alabama, right? I'm pretty sure he was Alabama, and Yasir was Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
And Reagan won 77-32.
Oh, no, because
yeah,
boy,
so man, they were.
Woo.
No, guys, don't.
Those ones seem a lot more confident. In that game
don't
than
get
the
in a brawl before Friday night between you two after we release this. But yeah, man, that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
Go Heels tonight and go Hokies on Saturday.
Yeah, go Who's in both sports. But I will say, Friday night, if you see us out, definitely come. I mean, we're going to be there for hours. So if you see us, come talk to us and chat with us. And we'd love to hear what you all think about the games and what y'all think about the show. So definitely can't wait till Friday night.
Yeah, also happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If you're listening to this, it'll be Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has a great time with their families and gets quality time and, enjoy that. Don't take that for granted. And if anybody out there doesn't have anything to do, needs somebody to hang out with, holler at us. Maybe shoot some message. Maybe we can help. Don't like the idea of anybody, being alone or struggling during the holidays. So, we'll do what we can. But, yep. Anyway, we appreciate y'all.
Yep. Thank y'all again. God bless.